On this day, 2 years ago, October 30, 2022, I was on my very first gym workout. Right now, exactly 2 years ago, on October 30, 2024, you watched this video on my second year gym anniversary. And I'm pretty proud of what I have built throughout this time. Right before getting into the gym, I went from being this skinny fat kid who actually weighed 93, 94 kilos. I went through a weight loss journey down to 86, 87. I dropped a lot of fat at this time, and starting with this 87 kilograms around so, I went to the gym with the height of 1 meter and 96 centimeters as a disclaimer. Right now, I'm almost 100 kilos. A couple of weeks ago, I wanted this anniversary video to be actually on the achievement of being either heavier than I have ever been, which would be actually 103 kilos, I believe. Yeah, pandemic times, I was a very fat child who used to overeat sugar and sweets and anything like that every single day, which there are for me weighing 102. But right now I'm around 100 kilograms. Right now I'm countless workouts since that moment. Like throughout those 2 years, there have been, of course, some breaks, some longer periods without trainings. Rarely they have gone over 10 days, like maybe 2 times, maybe 3, including injuries. I've made a good bit of experience throughout those 2 years. And I want to share this experience with you, because if you have any doubts in yourself, whether or not you do it good or not, you don't know what actually is happening, you've heard what you have to do, you've watched those videos, but you get bombarded with information whether or not you should train this way or that way, this split or that split, whether or not you should focus on this muscle once a week or 3 times a week, how much you should eat or stuff like that. It's a lot of information. So I want to share with you my most important piece of information that you have to know, that made me the most progress in the shortest amount of time throughout those 2 years. Because I've experimented a lot. I've experienced a lot of things, a lot of workout splits, a lot of ways to train, a lot of so-called, let's say, diets and amounts of calories and ways to go with my entire fitness journey throughout those 2 years, that I can already tell you the most important things. So not to waste your time. The very important thing I could tell you, I believe, is to train at least close to failure. When I was starting, I've made myself a pretty well thought, I believe, workout plan, where I used to watch a lot of top 10 bicep exercises, tricep exercises, tier list, like watching all those kinds of videos you've definitely seen on YouTube, on Instagram, anywhere. And I've made myself a plan, also watching that you should train 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, where you, if you focus on strength, go for lower, if you focus on size, go for bigger, anything. You know, you've heard probably all of those stuff. And as I've said, it's bombarding, starting people with information. So as I believe that, yeah, I have to do a lot of reps because I want to look good. So I've made myself a plan, sharing this exercise for 3, sets, this for 4, this for 4, 12 reps, 12 reps, 10 reps. But the problem was that I kept to this plan too firmly. Meaning that, example given, I went for lateral raises, took 6 kilos each hand, and hit 12 reps, and done. Yeah, waiting for the next set. But it could have been that I didn't feel it that much. Of course, it was a little hard, but I didn't go near the failure. But the plan said that I have to do 12, and if I took a higher, like the heavier dumbbell, I wouldn't do 12, so it's better to do 12 with 6s, right? I I have to put a disclaimer here. You probably heard about the progressive overload, but if you haven't, it's a very important but also a very simple way of thinking at the gym. To progress, you have to make your rate better, your effort better. To do so, you either improve the amount of reps you do week after week, or improve the weight you take. And if you take the higher dumbbell, the heavier, you put more kilograms on the bar, anything, you won't be able to do as many reps as you were the previous week. But because of increasing the weight, it's a progressive overload. So if you haven't known about that, it's also a very important thing that you progress, whether or not with amount of reps, the weight, or maybe the form. The progressive overload could be also that you improve the form week after week, so you hit this muscle better. But going back to the topic, I knew that I have to progressively overload, but I focused on this plan rather on the feeling that I actually progress. And this feeling is a very simple and obvious marker that you actually progress. And what is this feeling? Of course, it's pain. It's being exhausted after the set. It's feeling that you couldn't do more, or you were close to this moment of failure where you can't hit another rep. That's how I've been training for the last couple of months, where almost every set, every exercise I push to this limit that I don't count, okay, I have to do 12 reps. No. The most important thing for me, and as it should be for you, is to feel that you've pushed to the limit, that you've gave your heart to this exercise. Now some of you may be wondering, because this bombarding of information in the internet also puts us to the science of lifting, where some scientists, some people say that you shouldn't go to the failure that often because of this, because of that. I don't really recall any validation for that they say, but let me strike those opinions with a very simple example of someone who does. I've read about it. I believe 96% of his sets still failure. You've definitely heard about Sam Sulek. If you haven't, it's a very young guy, I believe 2 years older than me, 22, I'm 20, and he's fucking jacked. He's not a nutty, but still, even if you are on steroids or anything like that, I wouldn't advise you to do. If your only goal in life is to build muscle and to be huge, maybe, but if you have any other ambition, I would strongly disagree that it's gonna give you any positive benefits over the losses. But he's fucking huge. If you haven't seen him, Google him up. Like 22, and he could actually go to Mr. Olympia. He does most of his sets still failure. You could see his workouts because he's recording his workouts, I don't know on the basis, but very often. You could see that his reps look messy. He doesn't even care about the form that much, rather than he pushes to the very limit. You could say that his form is bad, and sometimes, yeah, it's very bad, but after the set, he's actually exhausted in the muscle. If he hits bicep, he knows that he couldn't hit another curl or anything like that. Even if the last curls looked shit, and if you were to do them with the proper form, you'd do 1 instead of 4 he did. But what it gave him was that exhaustion in the muscle. And from my experience, that exhaustion, that feeling of tiredness, that fatigue in the muscle, of course connected with the proper sleep, proper diet, proper health, gives you such a great, perfect, I would even say, workout. Perfect results on the muscle. That's actually, it's the most important takeover of my 2 years of experience, to not focus on the numbers. Even if you might not even count the reps, I sometimes don't even count the reps, rather than just go till this moment of pain. Because let me let me introduce you with the other concept. If you hit like 12 reps of lateral raises, but only after 7th it started to hurt, actually the first 7 were only a warm-up, and the last 5 were the ones that actually built the muscle. Well, of course not 100% to 0, it's not a binary system, but the first 7 reps might have been responsible for 10% of the growth that has actually taken place. So this moment when you're close to failure and your muscle hurts, when you're tired already, and you push to this moment where you're not able to hit the rep, or maybe you leave yourself 1 rep or 2 of the break of the pass. That moment from starting to feeling the pain is way less efficient than this moment from pain to failure or to stop close to failure, even though this part might be very shorter. Like it could be 3 reps compared to 9 here. But still, those 3 reps are more important. If instead of 3 you've hit only 1 after, like, while your muscle burn, you will decrease your progress in this very set. I don't want to guess, but 30, 40, 50, 60%? Pretty much, right? The second thing I want to share with you is the realization that I've made somewhere around 3 months ago about what my training actually brings to my life and how I want to treat it. Because I've been to, let's say, 2 kinds of workouts. One where I trained alone, and one where I went with my friends. During summer it was, of course, more often this way. And one day it hit me that it actually is important to enjoy the training. I know it somehow debunks the first part of the video, the first thing that I was saying, that yeah, pain is very important, but pain is not fun. The first thing, after some time for me, this pain is actually fun, because with this pain I can basically correlate that the progress will appear. But the fun of the workouts actually brings you benefits. Why? Because the more fun you implement to training at the gym, the more often you will want to come, and the more energy you will have during the workout. That's something that I've personally experienced. That if I really want to go to the gym, if I'm excited about meeting with this person or just hitting the muscle, even alone, I had way more energy during every set. I wanted to push further and actually get closer to this moment of failure I was talking about earlier. So it made me more progress in this last part of the set. It makes sense, right? So how do you make your trainings more fun? Well, as I've said, one way is to bring your friends. I have a small group of gym bros, and at the gym I've also made connections with some people. So if you have anyone from your friends group, from your class in high school, college, from your work, get them to the gym. Maybe they would like to. Just try. Nothing bad will happen from that. And what good can happen is that we'll have a great friend. Maybe your friendship will even get better, but their life can get better and your trainings will get better. Of course, there is this thing that you can only help the people that want to be helped, and if they don't want to, you basically aren't able to force them. But it's no harm to try, right? But accept people. You can also improve the fun you take out of every workout by yourself. So some key factors, key takeaways for me, at first, is that I enjoy this pain at the gym, because if you correlate that it hurts now, but in the future, tomorrow or 2 days ago, this pain will disappear, but the more muscles will appear. So something that I basically want and train for, profit. This basically learns you the concept of delayed gratification that you've probably heard about. That if you put yourself through some kind of pain, some kind of hard situation in the moment, rather than indulge in instant gratification, which would be porn, which would be video games, social media, junk food, the things that give you instant pleasure. But you know what happens if you, for example, eat pizza or something like that. You feel bad the next day or after a couple of hours. You're not as healthy as you were. You've actually harmed yourself. And with delayed gratification, you kind of hurt yourself now because it's hard to do this. But after some time, it benefits you. And this realization can be the one of factors that bring fun to your trainings. But also what I do is I simply train what I want to train. So another part, like another thing that this plan that I've made at the very beginning of my trainings that I've told you, the very strict, this amount of sets, this amount of reps, this exercise, yeah, it's good. But it was actually harming my feeling from this gym, because if you train what you want to train, of course with some sense of normality, with some sense of respect for yourself and for your work, so you don't say that hey, I want to train nothing today, so I train nothing, or you do one set at the gym for 1.5 hours. But if you were to go with the plan made by somehow, let's say, science lifters, that is said to be the best plan that you can train, that this, going by this list of exercises in this proper, let's say just this proper way, what I don't know what they could prepare, will make you the most amount of muscle. But on this way, you have your own plan. You know you like doing bicep curls. Let's say that it's a back day, so you like pull-ups, so you go do pull-ups. After that you do some rows, you do bicep curls, and you fill this day of training with exercises that you like or just can stand, and go with that. What will actually happen if you go with this plan? Yeah, it would be more efficient, more effective, but you don't, let's say that you don't like exercises that are here. Not in the way that they hurt, but in the way that you don't like the form you have and you don't want to learn it because you don't enjoy this exercise. Rather than here, you enjoy what you do. You know what you do, or maybe you're just learning what to do, but you seem that you're doing it okay, and if you are helped a little bit, you will be good. Guess what? Going by this way will improve the feeling inside of you to come again to the gym. And if you assign this positive feeling to the gym, even though, as we've said, it hurts to train, it's painful, it's tiring, you're fatigued after that, if you implement this feeling that, hey, I actually enjoy it, on the next workout, which will happen probably, which may happen faster than this workout if you went with this plan on the first day, you come earlier and you have more energy because you say, yeah, I want to do this. You're motivated. You've heard that motivation is a scam, that you shouldn't be motivated, you should be disciplined. But who said that you can be disciplined here in this way? Of course you can, and you should be, and you actually have to be. But if you do the discipline add motivation, the amount of momentum you can build in this way is extraordinary. So, from my 2 years of experience, which isn't that much, because I actually aim for a way higher amount of years. I won't say a proper number because I don't want to stop actually. We'll see what the life will bring, but 10 years, easy. But actually, after those 2 years, I've actually learned something, some proper knowledge. And if I were to share with you just two things, I've shared with you those two things. And they are actually more efficient for your workouts than anything else that I've learned or I could have learned by far. So now I hope that the experience I had with the gym will have somehow positive results on your training, your fitness journey. And now I want you to go and make your own way to better future.